just on the street, people in the housing, public housing, people who are accessing other community-based organizations for services and supports. Help raise awareness about why you need to do it. But then the next thing you need to do is inform. You need to help people understand what the census is, what it's not, what it takes to actually complete it. Who's got to complete it, right? There's a lot of myth out there about who can, who can't, who should, who shouldn't. I think this president and his administration did a great job of scaring many immigrants, many people who are here legally and immigrants, many people who aren't. The fact of the matter is that the census counts just about everybody who isn't just here for a weekend visit, who isn't just coming to see the country. Counts permanent legal residents, citizens, non-citizens who are here for an extended period of time, just about everybody. So we've got to raise awareness, we've got to inform, and then we've got to act. It's not enough just to tell people about it. It's not enough just to tell them how they go about finding out how to complete it. We as faith community have to help them actually complete the count. So I'm going to tell you what FPWA, my organization, is doing. But first I'm going to talk to you about some key strategies and tactics. If you go to the next slide. So I mentioned that I am a PK and a GPK and a GGPK. The first thing you'll see under messaging and marketing is sermons on the census. When my team and my organization said, we need to start talking to faith leaders about giving sermons on the census, I said, I'd be the last to tell Reverend Haynes what he's going to preach about, right? But I will encourage you to give a sermon on the census, to at least talk about it. Put it in your announcements. You know, we've gotten very, very, very sophisticated when it comes to technology in our churches. We, used to do a lot of things by paper. Now we send out communications via email. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and the like. We've got flyers, posters, and then we do announcements in church. Consider, in your respective churches, using social media and using your church announcements to inform people as we lead up to the census. The census count doesn't actually happen until the spring of next year, but you gotta get ready, right? My daddy used to preach, and Reverend Haynes knows this, about the storms of life. He'd say everybody goes through storms. You're either in one, coming out of one, or about to go through one. And then he'd go on and he'd say the problem is that we act like the storm isn't coming, and so we don't prepare.
Right.
Right? Well, think about the census as a storm. It's coming, and we've got to prepare. It can't just show up and then, oh my goodness, what do we do? Or we got people who aren't going to get counted and we haven't done the work. No, it's time to prepare, to do the work, to get everybody ready to complete it. So messaging and marketing is key. Information toolkits are key. What's a toolkit? A toolkit is simply an instruction manual. It's a guide. When you go through the census, you got to check these boxes. You can't leave anything out. You got to complete it by such and such date. Here's where you can go for more information. It's just walking you through the steps. Like when you buy a piece of furniture and you got to put it together yourself and you get this instructional manual and you get a toolkit and it shows you what to do step by step. We need to provide people with toolkits on how to complete the census. And then boots on the ground. Frankly, that's what I'm most excited about. Actually helping our brothers and sisters complete the census. So that begins with, if in your churches you do roll calls and you reach out to people with phone banking, make that a part of your activities in the early spring, late winter and the early spring, making sure that people know the census is coming and where they can go for information. Why don't you have some church-based events where you bring people together and you help them understand what the census is about? Open the event up to the community. Partner with community-based organizations, with schools and other institutions, with social organizations, and have these events. And you can do them anywhere. There's something about doing them in a church where people feel that it's a trusted space and a trusted community. Think about identifying in your respective institutions and houses of worship people who would serve as volunteers, as ambassadors, to help people understand what the census is about and to help coordinate activities inside and outside of the church. One thing I'm really excited about, and it's a term that I coined, so I'm really excited about it, Census Sundays. So the census, the actual counting, takes place during a finite period of time, late March through April. Actually, they'll do some of it when they come back and they go to count people in May and beyond. But you self-reporting, if you will. It's about a 4 or 5 week period. March 14th through the end of April, self-response. What if our churches had Census Sundays where we were set up with computers, with kiosks, with mobile phones, and as our parishioners came through, visitors came through, we just helped people right in that moment. We left the church open for 2 to 3 hours after Sunday service. Maybe we served some food, and we just got people to come in and complete the census in that moment. And we did it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or all Sundays between middle of March and the end of April. That's one way that you as a community, a church community, can make sure that you're doing more than just informing people. And then coalition building. Looking around at other faith communities, within proximity to you, other institutions that reach out and connect and engage with the people we're most concerned about, and collaborating, figuring out what you can do together as a community, events, what you can do together in terms of volunteering and going door to door, whatever the case may be. Let's go to the next slide. So at FPWA, what we've done, and you maybe should consider doing it, we've created an interfaith coalition. Because in New York, we've got Protestants, we've got Catholics, and Protestant is Baptist, Episcopalian, Methodist, and go on and on. We've got Protestants, we've got Catholics, we've got Muslims, we've got the Sikhs, and we've got Jewish persons in abundance. And we realize that in many of our hard-to-count communities, they're all represented there. Perhaps here in Texas or in parts of Michigan, Missouri, wherever, you have people, you have Muslim and Protestant, and you have Catholic persons. Think about coalescing as a body of faith, coming together with a moral imperative and combining your resources and figuring out what your strategy on the ground will be. So, we've got large sections of Brooklyn, New York, for example, where you can have in a housing development, a housing project, it can be both Orthodox Jewish people and Black people. Well, Black Protestants, Black Baptists knocking on Jewish doors is not going to cut it, right? They're not opening the door for us. They may think we're ACS, child welfare. They're not going to open the door for us. But they will open the door for someone who looks like them. So think about whether or not there's any value in coming together with other faiths, or at least other faith institutions like yourselves. So we've got this big coalition going. And what we're doing right now is we're developing a big marketing and messaging campaign. We want to make sure that our message is appealing to people of faith. Additionally, we're creating a toolkit that speaks to faith community. One of the things that we learned is that, Jewish people, stemming from the Old Testament and the Old Testament teachings, are census averse. They've been told not to buy into the census, right? Pharaoh counting Jews, right? So we need the Jewish community to talk to the Jewish community about why it's okay. So what we're doing is we're creating messaging and marketing and toolkits that speak to people of faith, that really lean in and help us to understand how faith community may show up in this. What FPWA is aiming to do is to share that with whomever wants it, right? So Black Baptists, for the most part of Black Baptists, right? I don't know, right? Right. But we'll give that to you all. We'll give that to you if you are AMA. We'll give it to you if you're Methodist. We'll share that with you, the toolkit. So you can think about, and the way the toolkit is being informed, we're having convenings with faith leaders who are telling us, no, you can't talk to us like that. Or if you really want to reach us, you need to make sure that you're speaking to us with these words. So the toolkit on how they'll complete, how they'll hear the messaging about why and what to do is being informed by faith leaders. And we're going to make that available to you if you'd like it. And then what we're doing is we've got this boots on the ground strategy. It's a bit ambitious. We're going to be in 32 neighborhoods, about 3,000 houses of worship. We're hiring people who will be community organizers, about 30, who are going to be on the ground beginning in February all the way through the end of June to do two things. To one, inform, I should say three things. One, inform. Two, help people complete. And three, dispel any myths and any rumors that are false about what the census is and what the census isn't. And we can provide that to you as well. So at the end of the day, what I need you and want you to appreciate is that you've got a role here. If we move to the next slide, I want to talk to you about the timelines and the key dates. So what will happen, and Ms. Kervin, you can back me up on this. In March, postcards are going to be mailed to every household. And the postcards are going to tell you, give you information on what the census is and how to complete it. The postcards are going to say you can either complete it online, or there'll be a letter with the census, the papered census that we've all gotten in the past. That will be a smaller number than it's been in the past. The thinking is that the majority of people will complete it online. And upon receipt of that, you need to just respond to it right then and there. Don't waste any time. Try to complete it right then and there. In late March to April, through April, there'll be reminder letters and postcards that are going to go out to people who haven't yet responded. But remember, it's self-reporting, it's self-completing, so you're not going to have somebody standing over you. It's not like you've got to go to the Social Security office or to the government's office and complete it. You get it in your house, either a piece of paper or instructions on how to do it online, and it's expected that you're going to do it right then and there. We need you to. But what we're saying we should also do is make sure that we've got houses of worship that'll be there to help you do it if not. In May to July, there'll be people that are hired by the government who will be going out visiting homes. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, where you get a knock on the door and it's somebody who is talking to you about not having completed the census, and they'll be collecting census information at the door. Our hope, our game plan, and when I say our, I'm talking about all of us, should be that number, the number of non-respondents, is as few as possible. Because here's what's happened. As I mentioned before, the government has cut funding for people who are going to be on the ground helping to complete the count. So do not wait for somebody to knock on your door, because they may not be coming. Complete it on your own. Open up the houses of worship and help people to complete it. What will happen is that all of the numbers that are then collected are going to be processed. All of the census responses will be processed. And in December, the Census Bureau is going to deliver to the president the apportionment counts. They're going to say, based on who's responded and where they've responded, this is the population that has been counted, and this is where we see shifts in population numbers. So, like New York, as I just said, because of gentrification, people moving, it's expected that our numbers are going to drop. So in December, there's going to be an accounting and a reporting to the president. New York should lose a seat or two. Maybe the state of Georgia maybe loses a seat because a lot of flight from urban settings, right? Depends upon whether or not it gets picked up in the rural settings and the like. And then in March, there'll be the redistricting that happens. So, last slide. What you need to do, your timeline begins today. You need to start thinking about how you're going to show up in this census count. You need to start thinking about your particular houses, your specific houses of worship, and whether or not you want to, do the soup to nuts, right? Do you want to just raise awareness and let people know what it's about and get information and tell them? Or do you want to actually help our people complete the count? And then you need to begin doing the planning. And institutions like FPWA, I'm going to give you my website, and I'm going to give you my email address. We will be here. We will give you an information toolkit. We will give you messaging that can be used in your houses of worship. And we can give you guidance on what it looks like to have a boots on the ground strategy. But you need to begin thinking about what you think and what you want to do in your respective houses of worship. And I implore you not to just stay limited to the people who come through your doors, but extend yourselves to the community. Right? Amen. That's what Jesus did. That's what we need to do. There are jobs that are available with the Census Bureau for the people that they will hire to go out. They're expecting they're going to hire, I think it's somewhere at least 100,000 people or so for a time-limited period. It's a finite period of time. But there are jobs that are available. So if you visit censusbureau.gov or census.gov, you can learn about the jobs that are available. And like I said, I'm going to give you my website. Do you have pens? Okay, we are www.fpwa.org. And my email address is jjaustin@fpwa.org. And as I said, if you want the toolkit's going to be ready at the end of November. If you want information on messaging and marketing and samples, we'll have that for you as well. And then if you want to learn more about how to create this boots on the ground strategy, census study, census Sunday, church-based events, convenings, coalition building, will be